Good morning, friends and fellow traders. This is Doug Campbell with Right Way Options, and this is the Morning Market Prep video for May 21st, 2021. Well, I hope everyone had a good evening and ready for another wild and crazy day in the market. Let's take a look at what happened overnight. First off, we had Asian markets down across the board last night, with Hong Kong taking a pretty good hit, down 2.12%. or 415 points. Now remember, Hong Kong is the tech-heavy sector of stocks over there, so we'll want to be paying close attention to that today in our tech sector. If we take a look at European markets right across the board this morning, feeling a little bit on the bearish side. And if we take a look at U.S. futures, well, who would have guessed? U.S. futures were red across the board first thing this morning, and now Diamonds futures are green, SPY futures are just ever so slightly green. NASDAQ futures still staying a little bit lower as the pre-market pump already is underway. Let's take a look at oil prices. Oil prices are lower this morning. We've got oil down $1.07. They're suggesting that the higher interest rates are the reason for this, thinking that higher interest rates are going to depress demand. I think it's the high prices, honestly, that's tamping down demand, but that's just me. And taking a look, that's at 78.73 a barrel. Brent being down $1.17 at 82.54 a barrel, and natural gas being slightly higher here this morning, continuing its strong run to the upside. We yesterday, after gold hit a new record high, it is now lower this morning, down about $15 an ounce here at the moment. Silver is also down after surging strongly yesterday. Copper, however, is a little bit on the green side. Platinum and palladium are lower. And my goodness, the cryptos got a fire lit under them the last couple of days. We saw Ethereum here really taking off. A big pop yesterday to the upside, and that's got all of the coins really happy here this morning, with Bitcoin up another $1,326 a coin at the moment. So if we take a look at bonds are easing here just ever so slightly this morning. We've got the 2-year bond dropping one tick to 4.83. The 10-year is at 4.43, and the 30-year at 4.57, despite the fact that we continue to see all of the Fed members suggesting that higher for longer is necessary. So market is in disagreement with what the Fed members are saying, but they continue to stay on that side of things. So we'll just have to watch that closely. Let's take a look at our indexes here. Oh, well, first off, I forgot. Let's settle in, let's buckle up, let's get ready for the Tuesday edition of the Morning Market Prep video. Good morning once again, everyone, and thank you so much for being here. I do very much appreciate it. Clearly, this is not an edited video. What I do is I try to make it straight through without too many problems in the morning. So hopefully you can get this on time, because if I have to take the time to re-record, it's going to be late. Let's take a look at these indexes, try to make sense of what's going on here in the market. Remember, we want to shake off our bias. We don't want to come to the market with a bias. We want to look at the charts for what they are, not for what we want them to be. And if we take a look at the diamonds, you can see right here in the diamonds, we had a rough afternoon yesterday with some selling. We ran up there and we came within a few ticks of making a new high And then the sellers came in, pushing us back down, and you can see pushing us back down into this price support area right here. So if the bears were to have any kind of inspiration to continue that push today, we're going to start looking for these levels down here in the chart. You can see the next area right down here. We're going to maybe catch that little price support right in here, that little tiny gap that we might have to fill right there, and past that point probably coming down into here and maybe testing that upside trend here in the chart. Now that's still, even with a move like that, doesn't even come close to bringing us back to our 50-day moving average. But perhaps if we pulled back and rested for a little while in the market, and we could go even a little bit lower, as you can see there's a bigger price support right across here, and then at that point in time that 50-day moving average would probably have chance to kind of catch up here, and we could shake off a little bit of this frothiness that we're seeing in the market at the moment. If we take a look at our SPY now, SPY had a pretty good day yesterday until right at the end of the day we saw some selling that came in, but held up pretty good overall. As you can see, a very, very bullish chart continuing to show that consolidation in the market. And if those bulls were to continue to push that through to the upside, well, you can see right up here, we need to break those wicks right up here and try to push on through. And if we can, we've got blue sky above there in the SPY. If, however, the bears were to find inspiration here today, then pushing down, we might catch this little support right in here, start coming on down. We've got a gap in here that needs to be filled if we press on down through there. So we'll be watching that closely. And I'm thinking this line, I probably need to move that down just a little tiny bit. We'll catch some of these support levels in here if we continue to push on lower from there. Once again, that's still going to keep us very separated from our 50-day moving average, but we have such a strong area of price support right in here. Maybe we'll just consolidate or rest a little bit to let that 50-day moving average have a chance of catching up. If we take a look at our QQQ, very strong yesterday, just moving to the upside. As a matter of fact, to show you some proof of that, let me show you the heat map here yesterday. If it wasn't for, this is the S&P 500, if it was not for big tech and the tech buybacks, the buyback programs that are going on, would have been a very different day yesterday. You can see it was a majority was the Mag 7 move in all of the S&P 500. That's what was moving yesterday, pushing us up. There wasn't much of anything else having a great day yesterday. It was Mag 7 pushing in their corporate buybacks. So very strong move here. We can continue, well, we have proof now that we can continue moving this market higher with just 7 companies. Making that push to the upside. So keep an eye on QQQ. Every reason to believe that could push on through to new record highs, more blue sky up there as corporate buybacks are likely to continue. And then if we continue to, if the bears have anything to say today, well, pushing back down in here, we might test a little bit of price support right in there. If we were to catch a little pullback here based on what Hong Kong did yesterday or last night, and push even lower, we would come back down here into this price support, maybe give up that upside trend here just a little bit. Now beyond that point, that's a pretty strong area of price support. If we were to fail below that area, notice we've got another area right down in here that could catch us in price support. Beyond there, it gets a little bit rough. We could really see some pain coming into the market if we started pushing down into these levels. And let's keep in mind that we would still not make it back to our 200-day, or excuse me, our 50-day moving average. Let's take a look at our Russell IWM. IWM, once again, just took a really good look at that multi-year resistance in there and just didn't have the energy to do it. Kind of pulled back a little bit by the close, but this is still a very, very bullish pattern, and the possibility in this trend that we could just pop right on through there certainly looks likely, and start testing some of these resistance levels of these past attempts to get through that area. If the bears were to find inspiration, well, you can see we've got a good support level here with this resting pattern in the chart. If we were to break down below there, I'm going to guess we're going to start coming down into these progressive levels into that chart, looking for those price support areas. Now, one thing you'll want to notice here, volume was pretty light here on IWM. If we take a look at QQQ, even though QQQ was up strongly yesterday at one point, over 3 points in the NASDAQ, volume was really weak. And that's just an example that the majority of what was going on was corporate buybacks, and there wasn't much of anything else happening in the NASDAQ yesterday. Let's take a look at our VIX. Now our VIX continues to show no fear. In fact, our VIX is really showing us significant complacency here in the market. And the only reason that could be a danger is if we happen to stumble in any way, shape, or form, then we could really see a marked shift in the indexes in the market, and that would raise some concern. But right now, markets are so uber confident that everything is great. We're pushing down here into low 12s, even the 11 handles last time, or yesterday. So we'll want to watch that pretty close as we just feel no fear in the market. Our T2122, our T2122 indicator did shift back a little bit yesterday. Early in the morning, we were in the bearish reversal zone up here, but it wasn't long after that we saw the majority of stocks moving lower, not strongly lower, just moving down and resting a little bit, perhaps beginning to build a little bit of a consolidation that could allow those 50-day moving averages to catch up, but a little bit of drift to the downside. Now, what that means is if we can find bullish inspiration today, well, we've opened an opportunity for this to push back higher here this morning, so keep an eye on that. If, however, we find some bearish inspiration today, then we want to remember that we have opened a big opportunity for a drawdown here in the indexes. Doesn't mean that we have to break supports or break trend or anything like that, just that we probably need a little bit of rest here in the market. So keep an eye on T2122. Our T2108, well, saw very much the same thing. We were flat to just slightly lower. Kind of the theme here. Volume was low, momentum was low in the market except for the tech giants, and we just kind of drifted along here. But there's nothing bearish here in this chart. Probably just the need for a little bit of rest. Everybody that's going to be in is in, kind of a thing, except the corporate buybacks going on. So watch that carefully here as we press into this downtrend resistance and press some of these areas. But even if we were to sell, we've got good support levels down here to hold us. I don't see that as any major concern. Now, dropping back below the 50% area, of course, can create a little bit of worry and concern in the market, but watch that close. Bulls are definitely in control on these indicators here, and you can see yesterday just an ever so slight pullback in T2107, the percentage of stocks above the 200-day, and we are up here in this relatively frothy area in T2107. So clearly bulls are in control, testing some resistance levels in here. We'll have to keep an eye on that, but even if we get a little bit of selling, we've got some good support levels in here to hold us. So just a little bit of a fade yesterday. And then our T2101, well, T2101 is showing us that problem that although we've got these corporate buybacks continuing to pump, Well, our market breadth just wasn't all that strong yesterday, continuing to show that bit of decline as we rally. We'll want to watch this pretty closely. If you're a bull, you definitely want to see, that breadth trying to move to the upside here on a buy wave. So far, we haven't been able to get that energy to really push us up on breadth. However, if the bears were to suddenly take over and see an increase in breadth, that would be a little bit of a concern for the bulls and probably maybe a point of celebration for the bears, maybe taking over there just a little bit. But we don't have any evidence of that at the moment. Let's take a look at our economic calendar here for today. Now, our economic calendar is another one very much like yesterday, with just a huge day of Fed conversation in here. We're going to start off with Barkin. We've got Waller, we've got Williams, we've got Bostic. And then as we look on through here, we've got a couple of bill announcements, and then there's Barr, and then there's Bostic. And honestly, I think there is even, they're missing a couple here in the afternoon and evening. So kind of keep an eye on that. A lot of Fed speak here today. Not much of anything else. And then if we take a look tomorrow, we're going to start off the day with mortgage applications. Then Goolsbee is going to come in. I think he was one of the only ones that said, hey, we can't rule out the possibility of rate hikes. We'll have to watch that one. We've got existing home sales, Atlanta Fed, quarterly services, petroleum status, 4-month and a 20-year bond auction, and then the FOMC minutes on Wednesday. So kind of keep those things in mind. Let's take a peek at our earnings calendar here for today. Now, our earnings calendar, we do have some notables moving things around this morning. We've got AZO that will be reporting this morning. It looks like it tried to move down, but trying to come right back here. We've got EXP. We've got JHX reporting this morning. Some gap lowers here, and some of Lowe's coming in this morning. Apparently they missed on some part of it, but they're getting bought up here this morning. And then Macy's reporting here today, so keep an eye on that. It's trying to bounce a little bit higher. This afternoon, notables will be MOD, SKY, Toll, and we're going to hear from Urban. Whoops, it's just TOL, Toll, and then Urban will be reporting, and VSAT will be reporting this afternoon. So keep an eye on those as we progress through the afternoon. Let's take a look at a few stocks that could be setting up for today. But before we do that, everyone, if you could do me this quick favor, if this is the first time you've seen these videos, if you could please click that subscribe button on YouTube. Also click that bell icon when it pops up so you'll be notified every time I post a video. And if you find these videos to be useful or helpful, if you could do me that favor, and that would be click that thumbs up button, leave a brief comment. That helps the channel to continue to grow. Thank you so much for everyone who takes the time to do that. The folks that share these videos on your social media feed, thank you so much. I very much appreciate it. Let's take a look at a few stocks setting up. Remember, these are not recommendations to buy or sell any security. You need to do your own due diligence. Be very, very careful in this market. Remember not to blindly follow anyone else's trade ideas. Make sure you are following your risk tolerances and your rules of engagement with the market and your I talk an awful lot about making sure you know what your numbers are, and one of the numbers that's very, very important is knowing how much you can risk. and making sure that you're never risking beyond that, because you'll always be off balance. You'll never be comfortable if you risk too much in trades. So follow your risk tolerance. Now, taking a look at a few of these stocks that are setting up, let's take a look at On Semiconductor. I think On Semiconductor is a very nice looking chart. You can see here we've got a nice little upside trend going on in here. We're holding some support levels in here after breaking that downtrend. On Semiconductor looking pretty good. Now, notice we've got a 200-day moving average above up here. That would be an upside target, I think, in that chart. Keep a close eye on that. We may want to take a look at XLB. XLB, the Spider Select Sector Materials ETF. You can see nice little resting consolidation. Had a little break of my alert here in the chart, pushing on up, trying to pump through a little bit here in the pre-market this morning. Keep an eye on that. Still showing pretty good bullishness overall. I continue to talk about Boeing now. A little bit late now to try and rush in and buy Boeing, but you can see placing a price alert, just waiting for a trade to come together. And now we have started a little bit of an upside trend. So now watch this stock. Any rest, consolidation, or pullback could set up the next opportunity for an entry into that trade. I continue to like TSM here. TSM, a very bullish chart. After popping my alert here last time, all we really need to do is follow this, continue to follow this up, and that possibility that we can break out here on TSM. Keep a close eye on that, looking very, very good overall. I continue to like stocks like Pfizer here. Pfizer resting and consolidating after this big push up. Now, Pfizer's been hated for a long, long time. One of the reasons I am interested in it, because we're starting to come back around. We're starting to see institutional support of this stock. It just got too cheap. So watching that carefully in here, I already hold a longer term position on this, looking to potentially add to it. Keep a close eye on Pfizer. Now, J&J was trying to make that move here as well. Had a really rough day yesterday coming up out of this bottom. So we'll want to see if it can hold this price support area in here. This down here was my alert off of that, but you can see just a big strong move back down. Keep a close eye on this if that can hold that support area in the chart. I would continue to keep an eye on some of these old boring stocks like 3M continuing to move in a beautiful way. Concise profit. This was the last potential entry here into the trade, and moves right on up just like you'd expect, right off a trend, right off a price support. And now we're consolidating. Look how tightly we're consolidating as well. No one seems to want to sell this. So let this rest or consolidate and look for that next opportunity for that stock in 3M. Altria continues to look good here as well. Moved up nicely, broke through some major resistance in the chart. Dealing with this next level of resistance right up here, we'll have to keep an eye on that. I would expect possibly a little bit more consolidation in here, if not a little bit of a resting pullback. But notice right in here, there's just no sellers on that. It is really, really strong. So if it continues this little consolidation in here, watch for that opportunity that it could pop and push right on through to those next highs. And I know these are old boring stocks, but they still look very, very good overall. Let's take a look at something that may not be quite so boring to folks, and that would be AMD. AMD pushing up here, and notice we're coming into this price resistance. We're resting here a little bit. Watch that carefully. If our QQQ remains really strong, then watch for this to continue this resting pattern. It could possibly pull back into this trend, but then look for that next opportunity to the upside there in AMD. Pretty nice looking charts. Now, I've got to mention these kind of things here as well. Alcoa, very, very strong here, moving to the upside, broke through this resistance yesterday, continuing to show that bullishness on metals. You can see if we're breaking through this major area of resistance, if we were to rest up here, then we've still got a long way that we could go here in Alcoa, showing lots and lots of bullishness. I'm going to say the same thing for copper. If you take a look at copper stocks, beautiful upside moves here coming in, just gorgeous bullishness in metals here. Of course, gold pulling back today. It needs a rest after this big surge up, but any rest, any consolidation, any pullback that holds trend, holds support, may be an opportunity for an entry. I'm going to say the same with silver. After just a straight up run, probably needs a considerable rest in here. Notice we broke through some major resistance here in the chart. Resting, consolidating pullback would set up the next opportunity potentially there in silver. So keep a close eye on those precious metals. And of course, go into the miners themselves. We've got barite gold moving up nicely now, breaking through some resistance here, as you can see in the chart. Continuing to move on up in this nice little upside move. I would watch this one carefully for that next rest, that next consolidation that may bring us back into here for those potential upside runs if gold continues to garner the support it has. Newmont is another one, and you can just go through tons and tons of these. They look really, really good. Let's take a look at utilities. Utilities, after this amazing run to the upside, look in here. There just doesn't seem to be anybody wanting to sell utilities. They're holding up really, really strong. 4 days in a row. Nice resting consolidation. I would keep a close eye on this. Now, this is a very, very steep upside trend, and I would expect that to maybe slip a little bit, and we may have to rest out here quite a ways, consolidate this big move. But I would be watching for that next opportunity in that as well. Pretty nice push here to the upside in utilities and continuing to show strength. Take a look at TEVA. Now, TEVA had a little bit of volatility that showed up right in there, but after popping this alert here in the chart, moving up nicely, any resting consolidation out here toward trend, continue to watch for that opportunity for that to move on higher. So there's a few things for you to pay attention to today. A lot of potential trade setups to be watching. Oh, by the way, I should mention this. PayPal continues to rest here, and I've mentioned this before. I'm watching this based on this weekly. Placed a price alert on this. This is a longer term trade. If we're going to continue to see this develop, then these higher lows in here suggesting that, well, maybe the selling is finally over here in PayPal. I'm looking for a potential longer term position in here. Watch that carefully for that next opportunity if you want to take a ride on that train. So with that, everyone, I want to wish you all a fantastic day. I want to wish you great results in your trading. Thank you so much for being here today. I truly appreciate it. Thanks for all the kind messages of support. I got to read them yesterday. I didn't get time to answer them. I'll be back on that case here this morning or today. So thank you, everyone. See you bright and early Wednesday morning, and as always, I wish you all the very, very best.